Hello.
Welcome to Screenjabber. How are you doing today?
Okay. It's quite early in the day, so I'm still enthusiastic.
You've heard about that?
Yeah.
So you're in Burke and Hare with Andy Serkis.
Yes.
And that's about the murders in Edinburgh, where they were sort of a pair of guys trying to make money out of selling corpses from medical research. How much did you know about them before you got involved in film?
I did a little research. As soon as when I got the script and I realised it was a true story, I obviously went on the internet and found as much as I could about them, and about the true story. The script is very much a sort of romanticisation, and it's a comedy as well. So, it's as it says at the beginning of the film, everything is true apart from the bits that are not. A lot of it's not, but they were real guys, and they just realised by happenstance they had a body. They came across a body in their boarding house, William Hare's boarding house, I think, that was already dead. They hadn't killed this guy, and they, rather than get rid of the body or bury it or whatever, they sold it to the university, and they got like £5, which is a lot of money. And they realised that if they did that again and again, they'd become rich, and so they went into business providing bodies for the medical profession, and 17 bodies later, they got caught.
And what was it like working with John Landis?
Brilliant. I'm such a fan of John, and he's such a lovely man. He's a real, he's an old school Hollywood director in that he's incredibly passionate and driven and shouts a lot and is enormous fun and is very funny and full of the most incredible stories, and has had an extraordinary career as well. And I number several of his films among my favourite ever films, so it's a privilege,
I mean, I think it's fair to say you've been able to do some sort of labels above. You've been in Doctor Who, you've been in Star Trek, you've worked with John Landis. Is there anything else, sort of, whether it's directors that you'd like to work with or TV shows that you'd particularly like to do as well?
I don't know. Yeah, I've been very lucky in that respect, and working with Spielberg as well, and Peter Jackson, and people that have inspired me as a young person, to get to actually work with them is great. And also, to face off against the Doctor or fight zombies, it's like a nerd's dream for me. So, filmically, I'd love to work with the Coen brothers. I'd love to work with James Cameron, and there are plenty of people. I could sit and list them all.
And fingers crossed that some of them see it.
Yeah.
But you've got
that always happens. That happened with George Romero when we said something about being in Land of the Dead as a cameo, and like someone in an interview then said, "Is it true that Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright are going to be in Land of the Dead?" And he went, "Okay," and then we were.
Mission Impossible 3 as well.
Yeah, I know.
Say, oh no, I'm not going to go off and be in a Coen Brothers.
I know, that's hilarious. I will never do a Coen Brothers movie.
You're watching Coen Brothers. So, I mean, you've got some exciting stuff coming up anyway. You're in the next Star Trek film.
Yeah.
And can you tell us?
I don't know. What I can tell you is that I saw Damon Lindelof, who's one of the writers who writes it with Rob and Alex, last week. He was on holiday, post-Lost, and I said, "What are you doing when you get back to LA?" And he said, "We're starting to write Star Trek." So it's in the office at the moment. It's being hashed out, and I know for a fact that as Damon has said publicly, that they're looking to carry on developing the relationships between the crew, and try and they've only just all got together again, really. So it'd be interesting to. That's all I know. And JJ is incredibly secretive. He is frustratingly secretive, even with his closest friends. He won't tell you stuff. So he's a blind alley. I know.
And you've got The World's End coming up as well.
When we can write it, yeah. As soon as Edgar finishes Scott Pilgrim, and me and Nick finish Paul, Edgar and me, hopefully, fingers crossed, towards the end of this year, we will sit down and get it. And we're going to write it. We're going to be, now that we've written 2 films, our process is a lot more sort of slick now, and I think we'll be able to bang out a script, a good script, in a shorter space of time, with no less care or attention, just, with experience behind us.
You've got a good relationship.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we've been friends for 15 years, so.
So speaking of relationships, going back to Burke and Hare, did you and Andy Serkis kind of get, because obviously you're a bit of a double act in the film, did you get quite a good rapport going?
I was amazed how easy that was with Andy, and we'd done Tintin together and knew each other anyway, but we got on very well, and he's extraordinarily amiable as a person and very generous as an actor, so it wasn't difficult for us to sort of start sparking off each other, and that whole relationship between the two of them emerged really quickly. That my character Burke was very much a bit of a dreamer and a bit more of an innocent, whereas Hare was a bit more of he was a businessman, and he was the leader of the two, you know. And even though in real life Andy's just so kind of, you know, I hate to use the word nice because it's such a bland word, but he's not a bland human being in any way. He's extremely fun and talented, and yeah, he's one of the people that you want to work with, you know.
Obviously Burke and Hare, they're doing it to make money. Have you ever had any particularly, obviously you wouldn't have been selling dead bodies for medical research, but have you had any sort of particularly weird or unpleasant or just
jobs?
Boring?
Yeah, loads. When I was a student and I had to earn money during the summer holidays to live, you know, I did loads of stuff like packing boxes, and I worked in an animal feed factory once, breaking down massive 8-foot lumps of sugar puffs for horses to eat. That was in a place that was infested with mice. And everything was like, the air was just hung with this sort of fine dust the whole time. And I quit in the end. I said I had asthma, but I didn't. I lied. It was just the most awful job ever.
Can't say I blame you, really.
So we've all done bad jobs.
And what is, of all the films you've got coming up, what are you most excited about?
Well, Paul, I guess, because it's Nick Frost and it's our baby, and we've been working on it on and off for a long time now, you know. I mean, we had the idea when we were making Shaun of the Dead. We came up with the idea in the back garden when we were shooting the record scene in Shaun of the Dead, and we shot it last year in New Mexico, and it's now in a effects hiatus because the character Paul is digital. So, you know, we're just waiting now before we can actually see it come out. So I'm really excited to finally see it. And I want to see him in the movie as well. At the moment it's just, in the cut that we have now, it's a little sort of superimposed image of Seth Rogen who's doing the voice of Paul. When we finally see him in the film, it's going to be complete, so that's the thing.
I think I'm about to get told to stop.
Cool.
All right, well, thank you ever so much.
Nice to meet you, thank you very much.